What's going on, guys? This is John Hasselbauer from thelines.com, and today we'll be going through the American Express golf betting preview. Before we get into it, make sure, as a reminder, that you are subscribed to the Lines YouTube channel, and all of the other important links that you need are in the description here. We've got links to the Discord, links to my tournament preview article, everything in between. As always, thank you for supporting the content and, staying engaged on Twitter. You can also find me at PGA Tout there. DMs are always open for any questions. Before we kick off into American Express, I want to look back at the Sony Open for a second. It was a great first full field tournament of the year. Anyone who's been riding with us was probably on the Siwoo wagon, so it's nice to get off on the right foot there. Really exciting tournament. It was not a very good field, really by any means. I think, obviously Jordan Spieth got off to a good start, imploded, missed the cut. Tom Kim had a lot of high hopes. He disappointed, although he was very good. Ball striking all week, just could not buy a putt. Worst putting performance of his career. So it ended up being kind of this unheralded leaderboard, but very dramatic down the stretch. Shout out to Hayden Buckley and the Hayden Buckley backers. It was definitely a 2-horse race. It felt like for the whole round. Some theatrics from Siwoo with the chip in on 17. I think both of Buckley and Siwoo had so many opportunities to build some separation in that tournament. So many missed 4-footers, and you were just kind of wondering at what point somebody was going to take it. And on that 17 and 16 exchange, Buckley hits the long putt. As somebody who was sweating Siwoo, I was very nervous. As soon as Lipsky left that bunker shot on 16 short and gave him the exact line he needed, I knew Buckley was going to hit that, and I really thought that was going to be it for us. But Siwoo comes through with a miracle chip in, and then he tees up a 3-wood on to driver height on 18. I legitimately thought he had driver in hand. That was very nerve-wracking, a lot more nerve-wracking than it needed to be. But shout out to Siwoo, a good way to start the year with an outright in the second tournament. Love a hot start. Hope you guys, tailed along as well and are also off to a good start. Good weekend for me in general. We got my Giants are extending to the second round of the playoffs, playing the Eagles next week. Daniel Jones is a franchise quarterback. So the vibes are good. We want to keep those good vibes going into the American Express. The American Express is being played at PGA West. I'm rocking my La Quinta hat. I've never played La Quinta Country Club, but I have been to PGA West. I played the mountain course. Really nice backdrop in Coachella Valley. The course itself, not the best, not the greatest assortment of holes. Definitely not my favorite layout on the season. And never really from a handicap perspective love going into an event where we're going on a 3-course rotation, where only one of those courses has shot link data. So a lot of liberties, I think, need to be taken this week on what stats are important. But that's what we're going to go through in this preview video. So looking into the setup at the American Express, it is a 3-course rotation pro-am. The Stadium course, Pete Dye's course, is the main course. So that'll be played for 1 round over the first 3 days, and then on Sunday, the full remaining field after the 54-hole cut will proceed on to the Stadium course on Sunday. We'll also see La Quinta Country Club and Nicklaus Tournament course. Both are considerably easier. La Quinta is the easiest of the 3, but all 3 of these courses have seemingly no rough on the property. It's dormant Bermuda. So it's pretty wide open. As long as you can miss the water, you're going to be okay in this field from a strokes gained off the tee perspective. We've seen a myriad of different winners at this event. Some are strong off the tee, like a John Rahm. Some are just approach specialists who can get a hot putter. I think that's more of the norm. John Rahm famously dubbed this a putting contest in more colorful language. So that's really what we have in store here. And when we say putting contest, it really is very little resistance from tee to green. The skill that would normally separate you from a field, whether you're an elite driver, or you have elite approach play, or you can get up and down from tricky, greenside rough or complexes like that. That's a skill that can separate you. That's all negated in a putting contest, where we're really saying from tee to green, it's fair game for anyone, and then it's just going to come down to who hits the most putts. Whenever we get in a situation like that, it's really tough from a handicapping perspective to hone in on who fits the course best. You'll see as we go down through this board, there's guys who are 200 to 1 who are just as capable of getting as hot of a putter as Jon Rahm, and will probably have as many opportunities at birdies this week. So it is an interesting setup when we're trying to handicap, but again, there's always an approach, and we're gonna go through that strategy. Looking more specifically at the three courses, all three share in common under 7,200 yards. They're not positional though, so don't necessarily need to hone in on performance on super short greens or super short courses. But obviously, it's not a big deal if you don't have elite driving distance, since the courses are not very long in and of themselves. They're all par 72. They are all featuring 4 par 5s. So par 5 scoring going to be pretty important here to continue to stockpile those birdies. You're really going to need eagle opportunities on those. I feel like to keep pace with the rapid scoring that we've seen at this event over the years. And it is Bermuda greens, but it's sort of dormant. It's in January in California, so it's not the same type of Bermuda you would see on like the Florida swing. It is a little overseeded with Poa and Bent. So I'm not looking too closely at, let's say, pure Bermuda stats. I'm going to look more broadly at just total putting. Can you get a hot putter? And ideally, have you done it at this event in the past where you picked up a hot putter? Because we are in desert conditions, and it can play a little bit differently from some of the other Bermuda courses that we're used to. And then just kind of looking through betting history at this event. Since it is a putting contest, I think what we would expect is a little more volatility, and that's exactly what we have here. 3 of the last 4 winners have opened at over 200 to 1. Jon Rahm has won here as a favorite at 10 to 1, but he's kind of the exception. Otherwise, it's really more like 60 to 1 plus are the types of winners you've had here. Your last 5 winners are Hudson Swafford, Siwoo Kim, Andrew Landry, Adam Long, and Jon Rahm. Good luck finding any sort of commonality between those guys. I think it's really just, can you get a hot putter? Which, again, most guys can do that here. So going to be an interesting one to zero in on. Whenever I get to a putting contest for my betting card, what I always look to do is, hedge against the randomness with more exposure to the field. So that typically means fading the top of the board and building out a longer card with more exposure with 2 more long shots who I think are plenty viable this week. And then lastly, just to touch on the top of the board. I know I just said I'm fading them, but you can't ignore them. You have Jon Rahm, who's coming in blazing hot. He's 1-3 of his last 5 starts, I believe. Won his last start at the Century Tournament of Champions, is a past winner here, and does come to this event, pretty much year over year for some reason. I don't really understand why he picks this event that's not elevated. Purse is not very big, and it's super random, and you're playing with an amateur that you're paired up with. It seems like something he would hate. But he's always here, and he is definitely your prohibitive favorite. I think 6 to 1 is kind of the consensus on him. Too short for me to bet, but he's obviously a presence that you should be a little bit concerned with in this field. I'm not going to go as far as betting the without Jon Rahm market, but you are hoping to get a little bit lucky that he doesn't bring his best stuff because he is capable of just continuing this heater and dominating the event. Patrick Cantlay is also here. I think he should be the second favorite. He was somebody that I looked at, but he's in the top 5 mixed in with Scotty Scheffler as well. Cantlay has the course record at the Stadium course at 61, I believe, which would be 11 under, which he posted the year he finished runner-up to Siwoo Kim in 2021. He does well in programs, whether it's here or Pebble Beach Also somebody to consider, somebody that I'll probably skip out on in the prop market. But again, just somebody at the top of the board I'm a little concerned, could just get a hot putter and go out and dominate this event. So I think that probably covers the trends and the background of everything you need to know about this field. So transitioning then into how I approached betting this week. We'll pull up something that I want to do more often in this video series going forward, is just giving a little bit of a peek behind my process. If you read my preview articles on thelines.com, and again, that's linked in the description, I talk a lot about my model, my key stats, the things that I'm prioritizing, things that I'm fading, things of that nature. So I think that's probably a piece that's been missing in my content, is diving even deeper into, what do those key stats look like? What does it mean when a player models highly comparative to others? So I'm going to share in this video, a peek of that and look through exactly which stats I chose as my key stats and how my betting card came to be. This week, my betting card is 10 players, which is about as many as I'll probably ever have this season. Again, it goes back to combating the randomness with more exposure. I'm starting my card in the 25-1 range. And when you do that, it does, and you fade a 14-1, a 12-1 player, you're going to have more flexibility when you're allocating units. I allocate 3 units to pay 24. It just gives you a little bit more flexibility to hedge more exposure with up to 10 players. So I started my card with Tom Kim, actually, at 25-1. He was half that number last week. The ball striking was exactly what it needed to be. He enters this week number 1 in strokes gained approach. This is an approach course. If you could just fire at pins, there's not going to be a lot of resistance. There's a big advantage to be had there. Tom Kim is not super long. That doesn't matter on this course. The only reason he missed the cut, and we're getting this discount this week at this event, is because of the putter. He had his worst putting performance of his career last week. So you hope that's been improved. You hope he misses a cut for the first time and God knows how long, that he used those 2 extra days to hone in on the putter. If he does, it's a great course setup for him. He's already won in the desert in the Shriners Open earlier this season. So you got to like his chances here. He's proven that he has the win equity. Cameron Young is my next bet. He was my spotlight write-up. You can read more about that again in my tournament preview. He's also 25-1. Not somebody who jumped off the page in the model per se, but he has the driving distance definitely to generate ample birdie opportunities. He looked strong in the Century Tournament of Champions, finished 13th there, posted 19 under. He's proven he can get it done on short courses like the RBC Heritage where he finished T3. Or he can go to a Century Tournament of Champions and post a low number. So I like him in a birdie fest. It's interesting that he's had so much major success, but I think his game kind of just travels everywhere. Looked great the first 3 days last year at this event and kind of imploded on Sunday. I don't know how much of a discount we're even getting because of that, but 25-1, I'll take that number. I'll take my chances on Cam Young. After that, really skipping the mid-tier just for the sake of having more exposure. I'm not going to go into great granularity on the picks for every single player since it is a long card. But Andrew Putnam is a player I love this week. He was 80-1 when I bet him. That number's since gone down to 60, which is a little bit tougher of a decision to make. But you look at a player with his pedigree at this course specifically, some of the best course history outside of Siwoo Kim and Adam Hadwin that you're going to see with finishes he finished T14 last year, and he's finished top 20 each of the last 3 years, 3 of the last 4 years. So always seems to show up here. One of the best putters on tour and entering with really good form. Was in the mix last week at the Sony Open where he finished T4. So, the game is trending. He kind of did that all with the putter, but that's okay going into this sort of putting contest. So really having the number I got there, really like his prospects and someone I'm really considering for one and done as well. Harris English, I want to talk about, him a little bit. I think he is one of more like breakout candidates or comeback player of the year potential candidate. I'm really high on English this season. He obviously was sidelined a lot last year. He decided to go with the surgery route for his back, and you kind of see he's on the mend, slowly getting back to where he was in 2021, where he made the Ryder Cup team. Loved his quotes after he's won off the first round lead in Sony Open last week, where he said he spent the offseason practicing at PGA West. I love that. So I can kind of overlook how he finished in Sony Open, knowing he might have even just been tuning up to play in these conditions, which seem a little bit more suitable to his game. 100 to 1, I'll buy low on it. I really like the long-term stock for Harris English. And obviously looks the part, doppelganger with Hudson Swafford, who's won here twice. Got to take that into account. David Lipsky looked great last week, has good course history here. 110 to 1, I'll take it. Lee Hodges, 160 to 1, looked great. Here last year, I did not know who Lee Hodges was before this event. Approach marksman, really good on these shorter courses, positional, where he can just kind of point and shoot at pins. He finished T3 in his debut. He's in far better form this year. He looked really good actually at the St. Jude Championship in the FedEx playoffs, which that really impressed me. I think that is when I started to take Lee Hodges a little bit more seriously. So I'm definitely encouraged by the form that he's coming in here compared to last year. Matthew Neesmith at 200 to 1. High rated out in my model, 16th overall, really good on approach, top 10 there. Somebody, again, who can just sort of point and shoot, doesn't need to overpower a course with driving distance, but has performed well on the comp courses, and somebody who I think can do well on this layout. His best finish here is a T17. Callum Tarrant at 225 to 1. That is a crazy number. He's actually my favorite long shot this week. He ended the year last year with a T2 at the RSM Classic, was in the mix for a lot of that tournament, which was, really encouraging for me to see that out of him, because he is more of a bomber. So when you see him contending on a short course like that, that's kind of eye-opening, because you do need that mix. You need to be somebody who, as a bomber, can take care of the two easier courses, but then you need to have that sort of positional game when you get to the stadium course, especially on Sunday when the pressure is on. I just really like his game. Him, in addition to Harris English, I would say those two guys, I think they're going to pick up a win this 2023 season. I really like Callum Tarrant on like the Puerto Rico Opens and Barbasol challenges that'll probably qualify more off of OWGR on the alternate field events this year. But he's a bomber and he could really take advantage of an easy course. So really interested to see how he does. He'll be on my placement card for sure. Mark Hubbard, 300 to 1, really high in the model, 13th overall. Look good at the Sanderson Farms. Hit a little bit of a wall over the last few weeks, but I like his game for this. He can win a putting contest. He can peak with his irons. And Kyle Westmoreland at I don't even know how to say this. 1,250 to 1. This is a crazy number. I don't think he should be priced as like the worst player in this field. He did finish T27 at the Houston Open. That's a tough event. And so that you got to be a pretty good player all around to be finishing top 30 against that field in those conditions. He's actually gained on approach in every start this season that's been measured. So that's encouraging for somebody at this price. I've got an each way on him. Obviously it's a long shot, but he does rank number 1 in par 5 scoring. So if he takes care of the par 5s, even picks up a few eagles on those, you can rise up the leaderboard pretty quickly. So he's a bomber. He's top 5 in driving distance. Is he going to win? Probably not. But this is the type of week that you can feel pretty okay about a 1,250 to 1 outright bomb after seeing the history that long shots have had here. So that's my card. It's a mouthful. It's 10 people. I tried to breeze through that more quickly. I think usually my betting card is going to be 5 players max, but I think you do need to approach this week with more exposure. So We'll see how it goes. I think our fingers are crossed that one of the favorites don't take care of business this week. If they don't, and it looks a little bit like it did last year, hopefully we have a couple horses in the race come Sunday. But yeah, that's going to do it for me this week. Thank you guys for watching, listening along. As always, you can find me on Twitter at PGA Tout. You can find my articles on thelines.com. Again, make sure you're subscribed to this YouTube channel so you're getting not only these updates, but every other sport we have in the mix. And yeah, that's going to do it for this week. So best of luck with your bets. I hope we hit back-to-back this week.